Yo guys, in this video we're going to discuss about Classic Elesa and Emolga and how they could potentially be the best debuffer unit in the game. Enjoy watching. Yo, this is Solo, also known as SPLGum, also known as Spatial Gum, also known as Grunt. Yeah, this team's called Grunt. And this is Pokemon Masters EX. Guys, welcome to my sync pair analysis video for Classic Elesa and Emolga. Now, she is the third unit to come out in this update. And in this video, we're going to discuss about her kit, how she compares with other sync pairs. So before we continue guys, make sure you have subscribed if you haven't. Hit the subscribe button as you're in the perfect place for Pokemon Masters EX content, and as well as I do these kinds of videos for every single sync pair that comes out, as well as gem count videos every single time there is a game update. And make sure you help out the channel by giving this a thumbs up, as every single thumbs up helps with the YouTube algorithm and gets this video spread out to other Pokemon Masters fans like you guys. So with that said guys, as I said, this or Classic Elesa is the third unit to come out. That's after KIMONO GRIMSLEY, who is a Spotlight Scout. We have SYGNA Lusamine, who came out last day of November, who is a Master Fair Scout, and I know a lot of you guys have summoned for SYGNA Lusamine. Third is the one and only Pokefair Scout of this update, who is Classic Elesa. Now after 1 week, we will have Holiday Leon, and 2 days after Holiday Leon, we will have Holiday Nessa, who are both seasonal units, and seasonal units share a 7% chance of getting a random 5-star sync pair and a 2% chance of getting them as a featured unit. And then on December 23, we will have Sonia over here, who's also a Spotlight Scout. And very good support sync pair. They all will have their all, individual analysis as the time comes. But in this video, we discuss about Classic Elesa. Now, before I continue, as you might know, Classic Elesa Pokefair Scout, 10% chance of getting a random 5-star sync pair. Master Fair Scout, 12% chance of getting a random 5-star. Unfortunately, 1% chance of getting SYGNA Lusamine. Meanwhile, Classic Elesa, there's a 2% chance of getting her in her banner. And, every single sync pair that came out in Spotlight Scout will be available on her banner, aside from KIMONO GRIMSLEY, since his banner is still running, as well as Sonia because her banner has not yet come out. So in her banner, you can get every single sync pair like SYGNA Erica, SYGNA Misty, Alistair, The Rock. Those were the latest Spotlight Scouts to appear, so there is a chance of getting them in Classic Elesa's banner. Now, as you might know also, there are two other Elesas in the Spotlight pool. There's the normal Elesa with Zebstrika, and then there is SYGNA Elesa and Rodom. So pray, if you're gonna scout for her banner, that you will not be trolled by other Elesas, because it's possible to be trolled by the other Elesas. But in this, we are going to discuss how good she is as a debuffer unit. So this is what her sync move, or rather her mindscape, looks like. So when you see the screen, congratulations, you have successfully scouted for Classic Elesa and Emolga. Did our fantastic speed leave you dizzy? This is what her sync move, or rather max move, looks like. So let's enjoy this. Lucario. Anyway, guys, interestingly, we have a Max or a Dynamax form for normally a non-Dynamax unit. Emolga does not have a G-Max form, unlike all the previous, Dynamax units that we got. Well, technically, we got the first one, which is SYGNA Suit Leon with Eternatus. It's not exactly called Dynamax or Gigantamax. It's called Eternamax. But so be it. We had Alistair with, G-Max, Gengar. We had... I forgot who the other... Oh, Red. Red and G-Max Snorlax. Elesa, Emolga. Emolga does not have a G-Max form. This is basically a Dynamax Emolga. So what is the difference between Dynamax and Gigantamax? Dynamax, the Pokemon becomes huge. Gigantamax, the Pokemon becomes huge and changes in some form of appearance and gets his own or its own signature move. So Emolga does not get a signature move when it Dynamaxes, it just becomes bigger. But it gets the normal Thundershock, Nuzzle, Light Screen, Sparkle and Shine. What do they do? Thundershock, 10% chance of leaving the target paralyzed. It's a 1 move gauge attack. Nuzzle, 3 move gauge, leaves the target paralyzed. 100% paralysis. Light Screen, like I think it's Lyra with Light Screen, so basically sets up a special damage reduction in the allied field of play. Sparkle and Shine reduces your sync move countdown -1, special attack +4, and gives everyone in the team special defense +2. Very, very typical until we go to the sync, or rather the passive skills. But before that, she has a Dynamax form as always, and you can use your Dynamax moves at any time in the battle, so long as you can only use one Dynamax move per Pokemon / sync pair. So Nuzzle and Thundershock both transform into Max Lightning. Doesn't matter which one you choose, they're both the same amount of damage. And then there's Max Guard, which you choose an ally and give it Damage Guard Next effect. So what does this do? Damage Guard Next basically, if protects that sync pair with Damage Guard Next from normal attacks. So 0 damage from normal attacks or 50% damage from sync moves for 1 turn or for 1 attack. So you might, if you have a tanker unit and it's kind of, you don't want it to get damaged or something, you can use Max Guard on that sync pair. Prevent it from getting hit once from a normal attack, or make it tankier against sync moves by cutting the damage in half using Max Guard. So it's your choice whether to use Max Guard or Max Lightning. Max Lightning, on the other hand, turns the field into electric terrain. So basically, after Max Lightning, all electric moves will become stronger. So, terrain effect, it's not permanent unless, field effects are permanent in the field of play, blah, 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 champion stadium parameter. But aside from that, you have a couple of turns to maximize this and make your electric type moves more powerful. Now, here comes the interesting part. Her passive skills. Shock Factor 9 lowers the opponent's or the target's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed -1 when you attack an opponent that is paralyzed. Again, -1 attack, -1 defense, -1 special attack, -1 special defense, -1 speed on a paralyzed opponent. This is 100%. This is not 50% chance of lowering those stats. This is 100% chance of lowering those stats as long as your opponent is paralyzed. Now, how do you paralyze the opponent? Number 2, Viral Hit 9. When the user inflicts a status condition on an opponent with the additional effects of a move, inflicts the same status condition on all opposing sync pairs. So whether you use Thundershock or Nuzzle, if one of the opponents get paralyzed, every single opponent gets paralyzed. And, you know, she also gets entry freebie. At the start of the battle, you have a free move next effect. And as you might know, Nuzzle, 100% paralysis. That means it's a 3-move gauge attack. You get to save the free 3-move gauge by not using a single move gauge because of entry freebie. So your first turn should technically be Nuzzle on any opponent. It's gonna be a free attack. Viral Hit 9 will make all opposing sync pairs paralyzed. And after that, do use Thundershock or use Nuzzle every single time you attack a paralyzed opponent. Their stats, 5 of their stats, go down per attack. As you might know, Thundershock is a 1-move gauge attack. So you're technically using 1 move gauge to lower 5 different stats of the opponent. That is crazy. That is crazy. One more thing. Her sync move has a built-in multiplier. So the more the opponent's stats have been lowered, the stronger the sync move will be. Now, she is a tech unit. And tech units, you know, if you have 6-star EX a tech unit, it will only hit one opponent, but the sync move will be 1.5 times stronger if you have a 6-star EX tech unit. So that means that if you have 6-star EX Classic Elesa, you get a multiplier with the built-in thing, debuffed opponents, as well as the 6-star EX tech bonuses and stuff. And as you might know, we cannot increase her own critical hit rate on her own. There's nothing here in her kit that increases her critical hit rate. So you might want to, if you want to use a sync move using her, you might want to bring out someone to help you with increasing critical hit rate, or just using her purely for debuffing the opponent, as every single attack lowers 5 stats as long as you paralyze the opponent. So if we have an opponent that has life, that means the opponent cannot be paralyzed. Well, probably not the best case scenario to use Classic Elesa. But if the opponent does not have life, perfect chance to paralyze the opponent and debuff 5 of its stats. And that is just insane. 1 move gauge lowering 5 different stats. Let's move on. This is what her sync grid special things look like. As you can see over, where is it? Give me a sec. There it is, guys. 1 out of 5 we get life. Prevents her from getting paralyzed, which is typical. Very typical for 1 out of 5. At 2 out of 5, we get light screen, MP refresh 2. We get Nuzzle, Mad Strength 3. So every time you use Nuzzle, it's a 3 move gauge attack again. Has a 40% chance of increasing your attack stat. Sparkle and Shine MP refresh 2 has a 30% chance of restoring 1 MP. And again, what does Sparkle and Shine do? It increases your special attack plus 4. It increases everyone's special defense plus 2. And reduces your sync move countdown minus 1. Now, Sparkle and Shrine only has 1 MP. So you might want to benefit, you know, if you can. Now, aim for an MP refresh here. Maximize your special attack stat. Plus 4 special defense on everyone. And minus 2 sync move countdown. But, you know, Thundershock, while her moves, Thundershock is a special attack. Nuzzle is a physical attack. So the only way you can raise your physical attack stat is by using Nuzzle. Mad Strength 3 has a 40% chance of raising your attack stat once you use Nuzzle. And Not 3 out of 5, we get Light Screen Barricade Buddies 1. If you use Light Screen, raises the special defense of every single sync pair by 1. Max Guard Barricade Buddies 2. If you use Max Guard, everyone's special defense goes up +2. Max Shielding Strikes. After you use any max move, either, you know, Max Lightning or Max Guard, we get defense +2 on Elesa, Classic Elesa. And Max Static Shock 3. If the opponent is paralyzed and you use Max Lightning, it will become stronger. But Max Static Shock 3 only applies once. Because, you know, you can only use a max move once. So keep that in mind. Nuzzle Paralysis Synergy 4. If the opponent is paralyzed, your Nuzzle becomes 40 to 50% stronger. Shock Factor 1 is technically a weaker version of Shock Factor 9. Has a 20% chance of lowering attack, defense, special defense, speed by 1. If you use an attack on a paralyzed opponent. So, this can work together with Shock Factor 9. That means there's always a chance of reducing every single stat, attack, defense, special defense, speed -2 if you get Shock Factor 1 to work. So Shock Factor 9 will always work. Shock Factor 1, 20% chance of working. If this works, every single stat of the opponent, or rather any of these 5 stats, all of these 5 stats will go down -2 instead of -1. And then there's super duper effective 4. Powers up, you know, your Nuzzle or Thunder Shock by around 40 to 50% if the opponent's weak to electric type attacks. And then there's Thunder Shock Staggering 1. 20% chance of making the opponent flinch. Now, here's the thing. You might ask, Viral Hit 9. Will Viral Hit 9 make the opponent flinch? Because, you know, when the opponent gets hit by a status condition, everyone gets hit by the status condition. Well, sadly, I don't think flinching is a status condition. So, it only applies to paralysis. I don't think it applies to flinching. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't apply to flinching. So, you know, now, aside from weakening the opponent's stats, you have a chance now of making the opponent flinch with a 1 move gauge attack. Just a 1 move gauge attack can make the opponent flinch, as well as lower 5 different stats. And then 2 sync nuke tiles. And that's it. That's it for her. Now, as I was saying, personally, I will not be, you know, making her, I'm not exactly excited of making her 3 out of 5. Normally, I make my sync pairs 3 out of 5 on day 1, especially with, you know, limited units, Poke Fairs, Master Fairs, or Seasonals. I go for 3 out of 5 on day 1 for a showcase video. For Classic Elesa, I don't feel the need to make her 3 out of 5 on day 1. Just because she doesn't get a lot at 3 out of 5. It's quite, you know, I think 1 out of 5 is more than enough for her. The best thing is luck at just getting 1 copy. Shock Factor 9 is absolutely the best thing about her. It will just power up your, you know, your moves, your Thunder Shock, your Nuzzle at 3 out of 5. But Sync move maintains the same at 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, aside from a slight increase in damage. So personally, while I will be making or striving to make her 3 out of 5 on last day of her banner, I would be satisfied in getting just 1 copy of Classic Elesa on day 1. And you guys, free-to-play players who, you know, want a good debuffer unit, should probably do the same, as we have a lot of sync pairs coming. So, there are very few sync pairs that are good at 1 out of 5. And Classic Elesa is one of those sync pairs that are absolutely amazing at 1 out of 5. But then, can we actually get all these good things actually in her sync grid? As you might see, nice multipliers for Nuzzle and super duper effective 4 and stuff, Thundershock. They're quite good, but can we get them? Now let us check the sync grid and let's analyze what we can, you know, somehow make for ourselves. So at 1 out of 5, we can technically get everything. So as you can see over here, nothing to worry about. You still have 2 remaining energy and you can technically set up everything. No problem. 1 out of 5. At 2 out of 5, you get to choose if you want Thundershock or Nuzzle. So again, in sync grids, there's no right or wrong. You feel free to explore what you want to do. But personally, I would think that, you know, if you have 2 out of 5, you should have Light Screen on her. I mean, we got Light Screen MP Refresh. We got Sparkle and Shine MP Refresh 2. We got Thundershock Move Gauge Refresh 3. And this is a Thundershock build. We're powering up Thundershock, 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 Thundershock. That's probably a 2 out of 5 Thundershock that I will do. Meanwhile, there's also the Nuzzle build. So this is my Nuzzle build. I got Sparkle and Shine MP Refresh 2 as well. To, you know, Sparkle and Shine maximizes our special attack. We don't exactly need special attack in a Nuzzle build, but we get Mad Strength 3. And, you know, Sparkle and Shine also lowers your sync move countdown -1, as well as increases everyone's special defense by 2. So that's a good thing of getting. We also got Light Screen MP Refresh 2, same as earlier, as well as Nuzzle MP or Move Gauge Refresh 3, 40% chance of bringing back 1 move gauge every single time you use Nuzzle. So we're powering up Nuzzle here in this Nuzzle build. Now at 3 out of 5, it's technically the same thing, either Thundershock or Nuzzle for me. I personally will not power her max moves, because you can only use a max move once. That's my personal opinion. Feel free to follow a, you know, Barricade Buddies build for her. I will not give her Static Shock 3 for her max move because I feel that it's worthless. I would use sync moves more than max moves unless you have some plan or something. So this is a Thundershock build. This time I'm aiming for super effective or super duper effective 4 at the top right of her grid, which basically makes my Thundershock stronger when I attack the opponent. I also got Shock Factor 1 because, you know, Thundershock is a 1 move gauge attack and we can technically, you know, risk that 20% chance. It's kind of overkill. I might actually remove Shock Factor 1 and go for Thundershock Move Gauge Refresh 3 instead, but that's completely up to you. We power up Thundershock, Thundershock. We get Thundershock Staggering 1 every single time we use Thundershock. We have a 20% chance of making the opponent flinch, which is a good thing because we're not only lowering the opponent's stats, but also trying to make the opponent flinch. And we also got 1 Sync Nuke tile. We got Nuzzle Mad Strength 3 just because it's in the way. And, you know, raise our stats instead. We got Paralysis Synergy 4, which is 10 energy, 7 energy, 7 energy. Yeah, this is the cheapest one to get. Nuzzle Mad Strength 3, so I got that. And then for the Nuzzle build over here, this is what it looks like. We got Thundershock Paralysis, or Nuzzle Paralysis Synergy 4 makes our Nuzzle stronger, 50%, 40 to 50%. We got Mad Strength 3 every time we use Nuzzle. 40% chance of raising our attack stat, which is the stat that we look at when we use Nuzzle. We got Move Gauge Refresh 3, we got super duper effective 4, as well as powering up Nuzzle tiles. So this is how I would build my Elesa or Classic Elesa no light screen move gauge refresh or MP refresh in this one personally, because I'd rather use her as a debuffing unit and just dish out, you know, continuous attacks rather than trying to protect my sync pairs from special attacks or something. I don't know if it makes sense for you guys, but that's my mindset for Classic Elesa. 2 out of 5, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5 I can go for her as a defender. 3 out of 5 I'd rather use her all out debuff, all out attack. And with that said, we come back to the slide, and as we can see, we come back to the schedule. That's our part 1 of our individual analysis for Classic Elesa. And again, Classic Elesa comes out December 9, that's this Thursday. For those in the West, that's December 8 evening. Again, she's the only Pokefair scout in this entire lineup. There's always a chance, since, you know, there's the new villain event, villain arc coming next month. There's always a chance that we will get a new Pokefair unit by the end of the month, like December 28, 29, 30, 31, or maybe later next month. But again, we have the New Year units, which are gonna come out probably January 1 and January 3. I'm guessing the New Year units will come out on January 1 and January 3, as it has been that way for the past year. For the past year, there's only two New Year units so far. But yeah, last year's, or this year actually, this year's New Year units were quite good. We got New Year Lance and New Year Lily, especially New Year Lily, very, very amazing sync pair with healing capabilities, with increased evasiveness, with protecting the entire team from status conditions. I especially love New Year Lily's sync regen. So every time you use a sync move, everyone will get a regen effect. I especially love that about her. And you know, we might get much better, or we might get better New Year units next month. So while Classic Elesa is an amazing, amazing, amazing sync pair, she lasts until December 22. Now here's the sad thing. Data mine will not be out by that time. So you have a risk. You should risk, you know, waiting for the data mine, but remember that if you wait for the data mine, Classic Elesa will be gone. She'll be gone. You know, Pokefair units normally have a respawn, should I say respawn time of 3 months to 9 months, between 6 months to 9 months. So if you decide to skip on Classic Elesa, you might have to wait up to 9 more months before being able to get her, being scouting for her again, or as short as 3 months or something. Meanwhile, as well, Holiday Leon, an amazing, amazing, amazing ice type. If I were to say which one is probably gonna be the worst out of the bunch, I don't want to say worst though. Everyone is good in their own way. But if I were to select a sync pair that I will not scout, excluding Spotlight Scout, so let me exclude Grimsley and Sonia for a bit since they're gonna be permanent. If it's gonna be SYGNA Suit Elesa, or rather SYGNA Suit Lusamine, Elesa, Holiday Leon, and Nessa, I would say don't scout for Nessa. And yeah, scout for Elesa instead rather than scouting for Nessa, because Nessa's kit is extremely gimmicky, very gimmicky sync grid, very gimmicky kit. I would be discussing about Nessa and probably Holiday Leon in one combined video. You know, a lot of people like Nessa. And I do not blame you guys for that. I mean, she's an amazing character. She's an amazing sync pair. But we are getting... I mean, she's a hail setter. And a very good MP refresh hail setter at that. And we got Candice. Candice is finally getting a sync grid. And if you want a hail setter, probably Candice is your way to go rather than Nessa, unless you're willing to spend on Nessa's banner. Because Nessa, again, very gimmicky, and out of the bunch, out of SS Lusamine, you know, Classic Elesa, Holiday Leon, Holiday Nessa, I think Nessa is the worst out of the four. Holiday Leon, why? I mean, is he not like Getsis? Yes, he is. He has a 4-move gauge attack, but Holiday Leon is just strong. Very, very strong sync pair compared to you know, Getsis. It's very easy to set up Holiday Leon as well. His stats are quite good as well. His attack stat is amazing and quite high. Yeah, that's my opinion, but you know, just wait for my analysis video on these guys. But right now, what I can say is that if you're gonna skip one sync pair out of the bunch, I'd rather skip Holiday Nessa. I will not skip Elesa, because debuffing is an amazing... Debuffing is important. Debuffing helps you quite a lot, especially if you're having a hard time with 10k Champion Stadium. Now it's 10k. Debuffing is important. Debuffing really helps you with the battle, and she can debuff 5 different stats with just one attack. It's just, you know, you need only to set up one turn. You only need to use Nuzzle once. That's a free move gauge. Your next attack is gonna be a debuff. Debuff, 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 debuff. Within 6 turns, within 7 turns, you're able to lower the opponent's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed to minimum, -6. And if you haven't seen, that's pretty intense. As an opponent with -6 speed is already, you know, changes up the battle quite a lot. An opponent with -6 attack and -6 special attack is really weak. And an opponent with -6 defense and special defense is just, you know, very vulnerable to attacks. So, you're lowering 5 stats with just a 1 move gauge. I think that is amazing. But stay tuned, because I'm gonna compare her with other debuffing units in a bit. But for now, again, we come back to analyzing all of these 6 sync pairs. I'm just going to browse through this because I've discussed this quite a lot of times. As you can see, KIMONO GRIMSLEY has the lowest HP, lowest special attack, and lowest speed stat. But if you actually watch my anti-free-to-play run earlier, I was able to one-shot Lance with KIMONO GRIMSLEY. One-shot Lance with just Metal Burst. Before, you know, before Lance was able to use a sync move. So if you're curious about that, link will be in the description or will be in the card on the top right. If you see it, click on it and watch how I defeated Lance using KIMONO GRIMSLEY. SS Lusamine has the highest HP, highest special attack, highest speed out of everyone after she ultra bursts into Ultra NECROZMA. Classic Elesa is somewhere in the middle ground. 360 attacks, 360 special attack. Again, attack stat is for max move. Attack stat is for, attack stat is for Nuzzle, sorry, Nuzzle. special attack stat is for Thunder Shock. And I think the sync move is also a special attack. Correct me if I'm wrong. Typical defense and special defense for a tech unit, and typical HP stat. Holiday Leon, extremely high attack stat, lowest special defense, lowest defense. Typical for a striker, but as I was complaining, Ice Rider Calyrex should have very high defense stat and very low speed. But that's just me. And that's just the Pokemon mainline series. Holiday Nessa, high HP, typical defenses, high attack stat, gimmicky sync pair, wait for my analysis video. Meanwhile, Sonia, amazing support, lowest attack stat, typical, and the highest defense and special defense, quite high speed. And with their multipliers, as you can see over here, Classic Elesa has the lowest sync move multipliers out of the bunch, except for Sonia, who is a support who technically doesn't need sync move multipliers. So Classic Elesa only has one sync move multiplier, which is the built-in one target stats. The lower the opponent's stats are, the stronger her sync move damage. But comparing to the rest, her sync nuke damage actually is higher than Holiday Leon, Holiday Nessa, and Sonia, who does not have a multiplier. 10,885,136. Now again, these numbers are computed by Bernard and Jack in my Discord, and I was told to credit STDK12. I'm not sure if you pronounce it that way, but thank you. If you are interested in how the calculations are done, maybe contact them in Discord and see how the damage is done. I'm tired of repeating the entire thing, but that's how the damage is. And by the way, Holiday Leon attack move multipliers are based on, or attack move DPS is based on plus 10 physical moves up next. I'll be discussing that a little bit more in depth once his analysis video comes out, but that's some high attack move damage. But again, Classic Elesa, no need for additional multipliers with her sync move, just the built-in target stats will give you 10,885,136. And I think this is with electric terrain active. I think. But those are with these 6. What about if we compare them with your most popular electric sync pairs? So you've been using these sync pairs quite a lot in your electric type. So you have Marnie, you have N. I'm including Sophocles here because Sophocles is gonna get his sync rid very soon. We have Volkner. So as you can see over here, Classic Elesa has the highest special attack. HP, Volkner has it. I think it's because Volkner has a recoil damage attack. Normally, if you have a move that has a recoil damage, you have high HP. Which makes this interesting because if we look back, SS Lusamine does not have recoil damage, and then she has 724 HP, which is quite nice. Sophocles has the highest speed, and by the way, this is a 5-star Sophocles with the lowest HP, lowest attack, and lowest special attack. N has the highest attack stat out of the bunch. Marnie has pretty centered stats, and again, stats are not everything. What's important is the multipliers. As you can see over here, and I made a mistake with the spelling. It's Max Static Shock. It's too late to edit that. Max Static Shock 3 is a max move multiplier. I don't want to make another category for this. Nuzzle Paralysis Synergy 4 is unlocked at 3 out of 5, as well as Super Duper Effective 4 also at 3 out of 5 rather. Meanwhile, Marnie, Ramming Speed with Aura Wheel 3 out of 5. Mode Swing, if you are in your hangry mode, dark type moves get powered up. If you are in your full belly mode, electric moves get powered up. And then I think you get a super effective up next. If you use your trainer move, there's a chance of triggering that super effective up next when you use her trainer move at 3 out of 5. Meanwhile, N has attack move multipliers with Outrage, which is not exactly an electric type move. It's a dragon type attack. Sophocles gets Nuzzle Paralysis Synergy 2, Paralysis Synergy 2, and super duper effective 5. And then Volkner has Harry 3 if the opponent is flinching, stronger attack, Paralysis Synergy 2 if the opponent is paralyzed, Power Induction 3 if the field is electric terrain, and super duper effective 1 at 2 out of 5. Meanwhile, sync move multipliers, again, Elesa, the lower the opponent's stats are, the stronger the damage. Marnie, if the opponent is paralyzed, stronger damage. Higher speed stat for you, stronger damage. If the opponent is paralyzed, Static Shock 3. And super effective up next with her trainer move, possible chance of triggering. And Static Shock 3 if the opponent is paralyzed. Sophocles, the lower the opponent's speed stat, Cakewalk makes it stronger. And then if the opponent is paralyzed, Static Shock 3 makes it strong, or Static Shock 5 makes it stronger. If the opponent is flinching, it's built in. And Volkner, if the opponent is paralyzed, stronger sync move damage. Now for the numbers. As you can see over here, Classic Elesa has the lowest DPS. But what are we expecting anyway? It's Thunder Shock, it's Nuzzle. It's not exactly much to worry about. So 1,121,931. Lowest DPS out of each one. Followed by Sophocles was at 1,125,673. N is second highest at 3,113,133. Volkner, the highest at 3,333,692. But honestly, these are not the highest numbers. The highest electric type DPS attacker actually is Archie with his Thunder when you get the multipliers and it's raining. It's Archie who has or who holds the #1 DPS title. As for the sync move damage, sync nuke damage, the one that holds the title is Marnie with 20,424,150. Second is Sophocles, 11,910,839. And for some reason, I failed to change the color of the thing. Give me a sec. Back. Okay. So, typical for strikers, N's sync move DPS or sync move damage is the lowest because all of these other sync pairs are tech units, and tech units normally have higher sync move or sync nuke damage compared to strikers. But, you know, if you 6-star EX N, you get to hit every single opponent. Meanwhile, if you 6-star EX either Classic Elesa, Marnie, Sophocles, or Volkner, wait, no. Sophocles does not have a 6-star EX. But if you 6-star EX the others, you get to deal 1.5 times more damage on the opponents. So, that's the difference. Make or hit everyone or hit just one. And then, Volkner, the second lowest with 9,480,790. And then followed by Classic Elesa. But you might be asking or something like, this is unfair, why put a striker together with, you know, tech units? Well, I hear you. I'm swapping. What about Clement? Clement is a very good electric type tech sync pair instead, and if there are any other electric types, there's no space. So I think these are the most often used ones as well. And Clement has Charging Sun 5, which is if it's sunny, stronger damage. Dizzying Power, the lower the opponent's accuracy stat, stronger the damage. HP Advantage 4 if you're higher on HP, I think it's like that. Raging Rain if it's raining. Surging Sand if it's sandstorming. Now, you cannot have rain and sandstorm together. So you cannot have rain, sun, and sandstorm together. So you have to pick just one out of them. And then we have Cakewalk. The lower the opponent's speed stat is, stronger the damage, together with the built-in target lowered speed. So if we include Clement in the list, this is what, or these are what the numbers will look like. So Clement has a slightly higher DPS than Sophocles and Elesa, and sync move damage or sync nuke damage is slightly higher than Classic Elesa. And now Volkner has the lowest sync nuke damage out of the bunch. But you know, Classic Elesa is not about DPS. It's not about sync nuke damage for Classic Elesa, although her sync nuke damage is quite high. But it's not about damage. Again, as I said earlier, she's one of the best, if not the best, debuffer units in the game. And now I want to compare her with the most or the best debuffer units. Now I asked you guys on Discord. If you haven't joined Discord yet, link in the bottom, or rather just visit splgum.com. I hope you know the spelling if you're watching this. splgum.com//Discord. That's how you join my server. Just read the rules, check on the rules, you're in. splgum.com/Discord. Very easy to remember. I asked you guys in Discord what you think are the best debuffer units in the game. And you guys gave me a couple of lists. I'm surprised that you guys missed out on some. And so I included those. I included 12, I think, of the best debuffing units in the game. Now, if I miss anything, just, put them in your head or something. But there are so many sync pairs that can debuff the opponent. I just believe that these are the best 12 or 13. Or you'll know later, there will be more. So, we have Classic Elesa, we have SYGNA Suit Leon, we have Cosplay Diantha, we have Anniversary N, we have Getsis, we have Elio, we have Janine. Yes, Janine. We have the Mask Royale, we have Champion Iris, we have SYGNA Suit Leaf, we have Palentine's Dawn. We have, sharing the same passive skill or the same thing, we have Lily and Professor Oak. So what do these guys do? Classic Elesa, again, her attacks, once the opponent is paralyzed, lowers the opponent's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Leon, or SYGNA Suit Leon, can actually lower more stats. He can lower attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, accuracy, and evasiveness. That's 7 stats with 1 attack. Dynamax Cannon. Problem: 50% chance of lowering 7 stats. 50%. What else? Dynamax Cannon is 4 move gauge. It's pretty hard to, it takes time to fill up 4 move gauges, especially in Champion Stadium, where if you get, right now, to get 10k points, it's kind of slightly mandatory to get that move gauge, or rather allied move gauge max -2. And it's gonna be hard to fill up 4 move gauge for a 50% chance of lowering attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, accuracy, and evasiveness. But if you're able to do that, Lucky 7-4 will lower 7 stats for you. Champion Iris, or rather, Cosplay Diantha has defense leech, or rather Armor Leech, sorry, Armor Leech 9, we have Mind Leech 9, and Speed Leech 9, which is a 100% chance of lowering the defense stat of the opponent, special defense stat of the opponent, speed stat of the opponent, and passing them on to you. So if, you know, if the opponent's defense, special defense, and speed are not yet minimum, you get to get their stats. And, you know, every single time you use an attack, you get to lower 3 stats. I think she also has, she has Secret Sword, I think it's a 4 move gauge attack. Meanwhile, she also has Aura Sphere, which never misses, 2 move gauge, lowers 3 defense stats as well as speed, and gives it to you. Amazing, amazing. Next, we have Anniversary N, who has Noble Roar, AoE, lowers the opponent's attack and special attack, and then his Blue Flare, an AoE fire type attack, lowers the opponent's special defense every single time you use it. So AoE, lowering of attack and special attack if you use Noble Roar, 2 move gauge. AoE, lowering of special defense if you use Blue Flare, 4 move gauge attack. Quite good as well, especially with Noble Roar. Blue Flare a little bit harder because, you know, 4 move gauge, but that's that. Getsis, counterpart of N. We got Noble Roar as well, but this time we got Noble Roar Double Drop, which has a chance of lowering attack and special attack -2 instead of -1. And by the way, N also has things in his sync grid that can lower, I think it's a 50% chance or lower than 50%, I'm not sure, of lowering another attack stat and another special attack stat, but it's not 100%. Meanwhile, with Getsis, it's a 100% chance of lowering attack -2 and special attack -2, but you only lower one opponent's stats. N, lower every single opponent's stats. Getsis, lower one opponent's stats. And then there is Glaciate, which is an AoE ice type attack. Every time it hits the opponent, their speed stats get lowered -1. Also, there's a chance of freezing the opponent, so that's pretty good as well. Elio. Elio at 3 out of 5 is pretty amazing. Not only is he good with sleep chaining, so you either use him on sleep chain or you use him as a debuffer unit. With Sparkling Area, we get defense minus 50% chance of lowering everyone's defense, or rather, not exactly everyone. This is like a 50% chance for each one separately. With Defense Crush 4, I think it's separate. Mind Games 4, 50% chance of lowering the special defense of the opponent. And Trip of 4, 50% chance of lowering the opponent's speed stat when you use Sparkling Area. If I'm not mistaken, Sparkling Area is a 3 move gauge attack. I think it's a 3 move gauge attack. I'm not sure. It might be 4 move gauge. Let me know in the comment section or anything. But use either him. He's pretty much a hybrid. He can raise everyone's special defense stats. He can raise everyone's attack stat and special attack stat with his trainer move. He can sleep chain. He can debuff. He's a hybrid unit, and I really like him. I really like his kit. I want to make him 6-star EX, but I'm running out of Champion Spirits, and I'm glad that Champion Stadium now gives us 60 Champion Spirits per week instead of just 35. So that's that. Meanwhile, Janine, free to play, 3-star sync player. If the opponent is paralyzed, use Venom Drench. Could potentially be an AoE attack. Lowers the opponent's attack stat, special attack stat, and speed stat if they are poisoned or badly poisoned. If you're able to combine her with SYGNA Suit Leaf, everyone, if they're poisoned or badly poisoned, 2 move gauge attack lowers attack stats, special attack stat, and speed stat. Quite good. Invest to get to 5-star, or You know, there's a Tech Nidoqueen who has Venom Drench as well. I think they're the only two with Venom Drench. Sadly, I did not get a shiny Tech Nidoqueen. But 3 stats lowered AoE, 2 move gauge. Poison Stall method, Janine is quite important there. And then we have the Mask Royale. What? With the move, okay, what's the Brutal Swing? 2 move gauge AoE attack with his Dishearten 9 passive skill. Lowers attack or defense or both -1. Every single time you use Brutal Swing, attack or defense or both get lowered. And he gets stronger and stronger the lower the opponent's attack stat is, the lower the opponent's defense stat is. So an amazing sync pair as well, and he can also raise everyone's speed stat, you know, with his trainer move. And evasiveness, I think it also raises his evasiveness. And then we have Champion Iris. Never misses because of Piercing Gaze. Double Drop, lowers 2 stats. And then she has Breaking Swipe, Snarl, and Dragon Rush. Now, Breaking Swipe lowers the opponent's attack stats. It's an AoE attack. Every single time it hits, it lowers everyone's attack stat -2. Wait a minute. This is not defense. Wait. BRB. And back. Now, again, Breaking Swipe lowers everyone's attack stat -2 because of Double Down and AoE attack, and never misses. Meanwhile, Snarl is a special attack debuffer, special attack -2 for everyone, as well as never misses again. And if you get her, I think 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, I think somewhere there, she gets Dragon Rush, Trip Up 6. So it's a 3 move gauge attack. But if you use it on an opponent, it has a 70% accuracy of lowering the opponent's speed stat. Now this is not whatchamacallit, this is not an AoE attack. So you have a 70% chance of lowering the opponent's speed stat, and because of Double Drop, the opponent's speed stat will lower down -2 also. Now, what I like about Champion Iris is I gave her the lucky skill, Defense Crush 2. So every single time you attack, there's a 30% chance of lowering the opponent's defense stat -2 also. I also gave Defense Crush 2 to Mask Royale. So that's that. So if you have Defense Crush 2, there's a not only a 100% chance of lowering the opponent's attack or special attack or speed, you also have a 30% chance of lowering the opponent's defense -2. That's Champion Iris. And then you have SYGNA Leaf, who is awesome with Poison Stall, but she also gets Sundering 9. And with Sundering 9, every single time you use Razor Leaf or Frenzy Plant, you have a chance of lowering the, or rather not a chance, but you lower the opponent's defense stat or special defense stat, or both. Every time you use Razor Leaf, which is an AoE attack, hits everyone, debuffs everyone, or Frenzy Plant hits 1 and debuffs 1. So she also, you know, has Poison Stall capabilities, and you know, she has Potion, she can give everyone gradual healing. Still one of the best units, but if you consider the other units right now, the other debuffing units, I think there are better ones now. There's Palentine's Dawn, who's probably rerunning on February. So she has Charm and Fake Tears, and Charm lowers the opponent's attack stat -2. Fake Tears lowers the opponent's special defense -2. Then her passive skill allows her a chance to, you know, spread this debuff to everyone, but unfortunately it does not work all the time. But if it does, everyone's stat or attack stat will lower -2, and everyone's special defense stat will lower -2. Otherwise, it only hits or affects one opponent. And so, we come to the last one, which is these two. We have Lily and Professor Oak, who has Unfortuitous 9. A lot of people forgot about these two. Unfortuitous 9 has a chance, or rather lowers one of these stats by random. Same thing for SYGNA Suit Leon. It lowers attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, accuracy, or evasiveness stat. This one is or, not end. So it lowers one of these stats at random. Professor Oak has Swift. Lily has Dazzling Gleam. They are all never miss attacks. And you know, before Professor Oak uses a sync move and transforms his Swift into something else, and the only AoE attack he'll have is Blizzard, who's 70% accuracy. They're one of the best, or one of my most loved debuffer units as well, because they debuff the opponent randomly. Random of these 7 stats, and the moves never miss. And there are only 2 move gauge attacks. So if you want to see Professor Oak in action with his debuffing, I use him in my free-to-play run earlier in my 10k run. Check it out. Link will either be in the card up the top right or in the description. But I really love featuring Professor Oak in my Legendary Arena free-to-play runs because of his debuffing capabilities. But you know, this is just one stat at random. And there's one more debuffing unit that I want to include. It's a pretty new one, and none of you guys mentioned this, so I'm gonna include him. This is The Rock. The Rock. The Rock is, again, as I said, he's available now. Whatever banner you summon on, The Rock has a chance of appearing. And The Rock can lower the opponent's attack stat, speed stat, and evasiveness. Now, if you use Feather Dance, it affects everyone, lowers their attack stat -2. If you have Feather Dance Slow-Mo 9, I think it's locked at 3 out of 5, if not 2 out of 5. Every single time you use Feather Dance, you lower their speed stat -1 as well. And, you know, he has the Fog, which lowers the opponent's evasiveness stats. Or, if you have Way Down 4 on his grid, any single attack you use on the opponent, I think it also affects Feather Dance. I'm not sure if it affects Defog. I think it does as well. It basically has a 50% chance of lowering the opponent's evasiveness as well. And you know, the lower the opponent's evasiveness is, the stronger The Rock is. But then The Rock's Brave Bird has a recoil damage. And the stronger damage you land on the opponent, the higher the recoil damage you also receive. So that's that. And so those are what I think the top 14 debuffer units that we have in the game right now. And how does Elesa stack? Well, the highest, again, to recap everything, the sync pair that can lower the most stats in one attack is SYGNA Suit Leon, which can lower the opponent's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, accuracy, and evasiveness stat with one attack. That's Dynamax Cannon. But then, Dynamax Cannon is a 4 move gauge attack. You have to charge up your move gauge to full if you're in Champion Stadium with Ally Move Gauge Max -2. And there's only a 50% chance of lowering all stats, all 7 stats. Meanwhile, Elesa, you only need to paralyze one opponent. Or you only need to paralyze the opponent. And you can paralyze everyone with one single use of Nuzzle at the start of your battle, which is a free move next because of entry freebie. Once you use Nuzzle, every single opponent will be paralyzed, and your next attacks will be debuffing the opponent 5 different stats. Now, if you want me to compare Elesa, by the way, with Palantine Serena, Palantine Serena can actually paralyze every single opponent as well, but it's a 2 move gauge stuns for AoE. Meanwhile, Elesa, free Nuzzle, no need to spend any move gauge. Palantine Serena can also lower everyone's speed stat, but that's just one stat. I think Moon Blast, was it Moon Blast, can also lower the opponent's stats, but I don't want to put her here right now. Let's just put Palantine's, Classic Elesa. 1 move gauge Thunder Shock can lower the opponent's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed stat. If I were to say anything else, who is probably the next, who the top debuffers are out of the bunch, I would say, in terms of how I would use them, Classic Elesa, Cosplay Diantha, Champion Iris, the Mask Royale, and probably SYGNA Suit Leaf. Although I do use Getsis quite a lot to weaken the opponent. Janine is solely locked for Poison Stall method. But the rest, yeah, AoE defend, AoE debuffer for N. I mean, there's so many different debuffers by now, but Classic Elesa just tops everyone because her debuffing capabilities are locked only with a 1 move gauge attack called Thunder Shock. Every single time you use Thunder Shock, once the opponent is paralyzed, 5 stats down. Unless, of course, if the opponent has some form of passive skill that prevents that specific stat from going down. But still, that's 4 other stats down with 1 move gauge. 1 move gauge. And remember that the opponent will be paralyzed by then. The opponent's paralyzed, the opponent's speed is -6. That's 1 heck of a slow opponent. And again, at 3 out of 5, she gains access to Thunder Shock. Staggering 3, or rather staggering 1, as you can see over, well, I did not put that slide, but Thunder Shock staggering 1, which not only debuffs the opponent, but also 20% chance of making the opponent flinch. And a paralyzed opponent that is flinching, that has lowest speed stat, is 1 heck of a slow opponent. And I think because of that, that makes, or that puts Classic Elesa at the top of the list of debuffers for me, far surpassing everyone else in terms of debuffing capabilities. And that's why I believe that it is worth it to scout for Classic Elesa. And again, how do you do this? As I said earlier, and as I said so many times already, entry freebie, free move next at the start of the battle. Nuzzle, because of viral hit 9, everyone will get paralyzed. And shock factor 9 basically lowers the opponent's attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed by 1 when you use an attack move on the opponent. Now, again, you know, you might have your gems saved up for... You might be saving up gems for SYGNA Suit Lusamine by now. Maybe she would have shafted you, or maybe you're trying to get another copy, or maybe you haven't gotten 1 copy yet and you're saving up. Don't let me stop you. Go ahead. Master Fair units are better than Poke Fair units. You're saving up for Classic or Holiday Leon. Don't let me stop you. Go for him. Go for him. He's pretty good. If you want Nessa, go ahead. Go for Nessa. If you want Sonia, go ahead, save up for Nessa. Again, I'm just here to give you my analysis and my advice. Personally, I would get her to 1 out of 5 and stop there unless you have extra gems. And you can use your candies to get her to a higher move level. But I would probably wait, you know, I would do my daily discount pulls unless I get impatient or stuff. I'll just be satisfied of getting her 1 out of 5 on day 1 and waiting until December 20 or something, get her to 3 out of 5. And yeah, again, her sync move, built-in multiplier, that's the only thing she gets with her sync move multiplier. Built-in. Nothing else at 3 out of 5 except powering up her max moves or increasing the damage of the sync moves a little bit, but no multipliers with her sync move. So, again, as I said, go for your faves. No need to go for the best units. I would say she's the best debuffer, but no need to go for the best because it's your game, it's your gems, it's your money if you're spending in the game. Just go for whoever you want. Again, I'm just here to give advice, give my analysis. And if you appreciate the hard work and effort that came into this video, make sure, again, you hit the thumbs up button as it really helps me, motivates me to make more of this, and really helps out with the exposure here on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed yet, and if you watched the entire thing, you know, I'd appreciate it if you join us in our journey to 10K and higher by clicking on the subscribe button. And if you want to take the support a little bit further, you can become a member of my channel like my awesome members up there. Victor is not yet there. I'm gonna put your name soon. Thank you to my 1-year members, Shadowphil, Alstin, and Aryan Singh. As for the others, Blaze, John9019, Hoplio Gaming, Roy Ackerman, Luca Midi, Arimakose, Popbot, Visual, Chrome Dome, Sasri Ambreon, Blue Rose, again Victor, and Marcella. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it, and all my super chatters for the extra help. I'm actually waiting for another feature in YouTube called Super Thanks. It's not yet available in my channel. And if you guys want to help out, maybe next time, once the video is up, you can send me a super thanks or something, and it will help out my funds as well. But that said, that is the end of our sync pair analysis for Classic Elesa. Again, she's coming out on December 9. That's 2 days from now. Depending on what time I upload this video, the trailer for her, the preview and everything will be available in the Twitter page of Pokemon Masters Japan or the US Twitter page by now or by later. And, you know, those are the schedules. Good luck with whoever you're scouting. Spotlight, Master Fair, Poke Fair, Seasonals, Spotlight. Probably skip on the Spotlights, although I'm really excited about Sonia. Good luck with SYGNA Lusamine. Good luck with these two. I know some of you guys are scouting for these two. Not a lot of you are scouting for Elesa. Let me know if you're scouting for Elesa. Maybe this video has changed your mind and now you want to scout for Elesa. Let me know. Let me know. But honestly, I don't hear a lot of people wanting to scout for Elesa. I wonder why. It's most likely because there's so many sync pairs coming out this month. Probably more next month. So let me know if you are scouting for Elesa after hearing me talk about Elesa. And with that said, this is Sol, also known as SPL Gum, also known as Spatial Gum, also known as Grunt. The artist team's called Grunt. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Rawr.